So, okay, I was showing you guys the calendar and the way you can display it. You can filter through categories with this drop down here if you just want to see, for example, sports or whatever categories we have available for that month. And you can also jump in time. And I was going to show you the list view. And as you can see, it changed to sports and fitness, so my list view only gives me sports and fitness. I can switch back to all. And then we'd have a list of everything. That's, in a nutshell, what the kind of content our site has. So it's just basically static in facilities and dynamic in calendar and homepage. The homepage is also a bit different because we can create promos. Promos and events are our kind of dynamic content. The difference between a promo and event, if you can see, we have several promos as well here. A promo is just an internal way of calling it, but it actually can be a news article, a happening, or any kind of announcement, or in this case, it's advertising for these digital magazines or this Commander's Cup and so on. The main difference is you don't have a mark date on there, so it's just there for the time we assign it to be there, and it doesn't need to have one. It doesn't even have a date. So it's a really flexible format for that. Okay. So I'm gonna do like if I was to sign in. You just scroll all the way down here in the footer and then go to login. And then you type in your username password. Did you guys receive that already?
Mm-hmm.
Yes? Okay.
I have, yes. I don't think I have.
Well, yeah, okay. If not, I'll set you up at the end of this session.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay. So once I'm logged in, I'm going to see I have a toolbar here at the top. As a customer, I wouldn't see this, so that's how I know, okay, I'm logged in, cool. Sometimes we'll get a screen welcoming us and so on. You can just X that out. And so we have three main things we can do in the toolbar. Is edit the page we're on. We're not going to see that in this part of the course. The other one is the dashboard, which is where we go into all our tools. That's what we'll be using most of the time. And then we have a new one here. It's called documentation. If I click on that, I get all the tutorials and stuff I've created, as well as all the SOPs on how to use the site. So besides this course I'm giving you, you can always come back here and find stuff if you have any doubts. Okay, so I'm going to click on dashboard, and I'm going to show you the main things we're going to be focusing on. This is strange. Okay, so the main things we're going to focus on is the sitemap. It's a sitemap is basically a diagram of how to explore and navigate a site and get to any part of our system or pages inside our site. File manager is where we store everything from images to PDFs to Word documents, Excel files, anything you want to make downloadable, and also all the images that go into your events. And then finally, the biggest one we'll be focusing on is Pro Events. It's our plugin to manage all our events inside our calendar and also on our homepage. And as well, you can assign events to go into your facility pages as well. So those are the main ones. This documentation here, you can ignore. That's an old one. We'll be using only the one that's up here when it appears on the bottom there. So let's dig into sitemap. The main view is the full sitemap. And so, like I said, it's just an explorer or a navigator to find our documents, our pages inside our website. And we'll be working mostly with Europe, so that's why I expanded it, always on the little plus button. And then I'm going to find my garrison, say, for example, Ansbach. I'll expand that. And we'll be focusing mostly on the programs part. So if I expand that, I'm going to see all our facilities and programs that MWR manages in that garrison. So everything from CYS, it's split out a bit different, and ACS is right here, and so on. This is important to know. Later on you'll see why. You need to find a way to get to your particular garrison. So once again, I'm going to just repeat that. Expand into Europe, and then find your garrison, and then programs. We'll be assigning events to these. That's why I want to repeat that. Okay, there's different views of the sitemap. There's also page search and a flat view. Sometimes we don't find things, so I use page search. And you get to those all in this little arrow down here. It's always this arrow always includes like options inside each of these modules. So if you didn't know how to get there, it's right there. And then page name here is a typical search, so you can just let's say type golf, whatever, and I would get any page or event, anything that's on the website related to that word. And you can also put more results per page and typical stuff like that from search engines. We have one more view, is the flat view. And this, wait. The only difference with the flat view is that once I go into a sub-level, it's not going to show all the other ones. It's just maybe a little bit less distracting. And that way I can find my stuff a bit easier. Okay, that's kind of the sitemap. And you can also get to those views from the dashboard really easy here. And one thing I like to point out is you can actually create favorites and this rollover on your dashboard button of the things you mostly use. Since I use sitemap a lot, it's there. And the file manager and also the pro events. So they're all tagged as favorites, so you can easily reach them here. To do that, it's quite easy. Just go into any of these and click on this little star over here. And now it's off. So I'm going to put it again, and there it is. That will save you some steps instead of having to go into dashboard and then clicking on each of these. Okay, so let's go into File Manager. Okay, like I said, this is where you manage every single file and you upload stuff to. You see for each little file we have a thumbnail and a checkbox here with which we can do a series of things. You can download anything you've checked. You can put it into sets. I'll go into that a bit later. Change their properties, copy and so on, and delete and so on. So the basic thing is you probably want to upload a file or something from your computer. Just click on Choose File. And let's see. What we got right here. So let's say we want to upload that file. Select it and then just click upload, pretty easy. And just the two or three things to point out here are adding tags to description, or right here. And you probably want to add as many as you can, so you can easily find that file later. So in this case, it's a report. I don't know. It's a, and then I can also do KL and anything. Just with stuff that's really related to that file, and then click on this little notepad thing, and it'll save it. Otherwise, if you don't click it, it won't save the text URL. Another thing to note is the naming convention we have. Do not do the thing I just did right now. I'm going to delete that. But as you can see, most people do follow our naming convention. It's the code of the garrison, KL Kaiserslautern, for example, underscore or dash as spacing, and then we put the facility, and then we put the name. Do I need to wait?
Sorry, I just might walk into my office.
Oh, no, don't worry.
Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm back.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, just to recap, so that's a typical naming convention, how we should upload every file. It's the garrison, the facility or program, and then a descriptive name, and if it has a date, you can put a date as well. Some people didn't do that, and then it's going to be really hard to find files sometimes. And well, that way we know who it came from and so on. We do use files from everyone, and that's a neat part of the system where you can use other people's images if they had the same exact event. So they already had a good one. Well, great. You can search for anything up here again. So you can do as well. Sports or.
Does it pull keywords just from the description and the title, or does it also pull keywords from like the actual?
Yeah, it does. It does both.
Advertisement.
So if we click on a thumbnail for any of these, you can go into properties, and we can see it'll pull from any of the characters here, but they also added.
Okay.
They also added this, for example, that didn't have martial arts. So if somebody would type martial arts, they would find it as well, thanks to this tag added right here. So it's pretty useful. Okay. X that out. So yeah, just every time you upload, try to include those. So to do anything with any of these images, it's mostly clicking on the thumbnail itself. So you can download, you can change the properties, delete. In this case, I'm going to delete that. And not on the checkbox. Maybe it's not that intuitive, but a lot of people tend to do that. Oh, I can't do anything. Like, okay, well the checkbox is actually to do it to multiple things. And then it says with selected, I can, download all of those at once or delete them and so on. Now, the other important part of File Manager is the sets. A lot of people have already created their own sets here to kind of categorize and give certain order, and just create sets as its name. And to do that, say I want to create a set for these three things. I can check the box like that, or for an individual item, you can just go into sets. Let's do it for all three, for example. You go into the drop-down sets, and I can add it to a number of sets. I can, maybe this is for boss, and it's also for fitness center. If you don't want to do that, we can also create a brand new one. So I'm gonna do like, say, Eric's set, Eric's martial arts set, or something like that. And then that way, it's a way of organizing things. Otherwise, everything's in a huge pool of everything. And this is the only kind of like folder or categorization we can put files into. So, and you can also search by set if you were to. Some of these have more than others. It's a work in progress. So, say outdoor recreation. I think they do a better job. And then you see all those outdoor rec files. Yeah, they have like 14 pages of that. So it's a neat way to organize. And you can actually search in more than one set as well. You can do like, see all the auto ones and all the arts ones and so on. Apparently it doesn't have anything, but okay. That's the file manager. And I show you these two first, and you'll see why, because we're going to be using them inside Pro Events. So Pro Events has one main area, it's the list. And inside the list, we have a series of actions for each event, and a series of status or attributes up here. So that's the name of the event, drawstring bank template. Sorry, that's actually a template event. I'll be showing you how to duplicate templates, so you don't have to create things from scratch, just to make your guys' life easier. If it doesn't have the name template,
status says unimproved though. What is that? Does that mean we shouldn't be using that template?
No.
They haven't looked at it yet, or what does that mean?
Yeah, I'll get to it. It's.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it. It's okay. It's unapproved is when it's not live yet. So, in order, I'm just gonna go through these dates. Is all the dates that event's gonna be happening at. You can have multiple dates per event. Then it can happen at different times as well. Here's gonna say if it's gonna recur weekly, daily, monthly, yearly, etc. The category itself, and then the status if it's online or not, if it's published or not. Unapproved is not published. Approved is published or online. It's the same. It's just a different word for that. It also means that an approver hasn't approved it. So in the workflow of this, you guys are contributors, and contributors have the ability to submit events and get all the way to this unapproved status. And then after that, you guys have to email the marketing department. We're working on a better workflow process, but for now you email them and let them know, okay, they can also come in, and most of them have the habit of just coming in and seeing, oh, okay, all these are unapproved. I'm going to go and preview it. You can click on the name. And then they'll be like, okay, oh, that's got a spelling error or a typo. See, it's all right, and then they go and approve it. So it's kind of your basic workflow here. And on the left, we have a few action buttons. It's the actual edit, the most important one, where you go and see all the details of the event. Then you can also duplicate it. Sometimes that's useful when we have strange kind of date combinations, and we definitely can't use the multiple date system inside it. Then we'll just duplicate it and easily change their dates there. Or in the case of a template, duplicate a template, then just remove the template part on the name and then assign it to our garrison. and I'll show you how to do that in a second. Okay, so let's jump in and look at this Zumba event, for example. I'm going to edit, which is basically the same screen as when I add a new event. It's just I get a series of tabs up here with all of our information kind of divided in the content type. So this is like all the written part of it, all the actual written content of the event. Dates is obviously all the dates, times, and if it's recurring and so on. And then info is actually all our contact information, what category and community it belongs to, and so on. If there's a cost, if there's a registration, and so on. Well, it's pretty straightforward. So we get this form with a field for a title right here. So Zumba at Catterbach. Then super important is to have your garrison selected. Sometimes if we're working from template, it'll be like that. That's not going to work. So you guys select the garrison there, and then you can select the category if you were making a new event. Templates already have all of this selected, so that's good. And then the page type event or promo is what I kind of talked about in the beginning. Event is actually a dated event, a dated happening. It's going to display a little number on it. I'm going to show you like this guy here. And it's going to be added to the calendar. And that's the main difference. The promo can have a date, but we can also hide it with this little checkbox, hide dates. And the main difference, it will not show on the calendar because we don't want to give it a time to, we don't want the customer to see anything like in a time frame for that. We will have a due date for promo. For example, we want it to come off at a certain date, but it doesn't have to reflect on the customer side. So that's our main difference. And promos you can do more than just event types material. It can be a news article, for example. Okay. Then we have an optional message. We're not going to be using that. It's not active at the moment. The event video, however, does work. So it has to be a YouTube video. If you guys have a YouTube video, you can actually embed it as the thumbnail. By thumbnail, I mean any of these front-facing images. I don't have one here, but it can be a video directly here with the little play button and everything. So that's pretty cool. All you need to do for that is to have this last ID number, which is on any YouTube URL. I'll show you a quick example here. So let's say I have any YouTube video, right? And this is the identifier right here after the equal sign. And that's all I have to do. I have to copy and just paste that right here. So you don't have to put the whole URL like YouTube. That's not going to work if you copy this whole thing. Just that little part right there.
The identifiers after what? The equal sign? For the video?
Yes, everything after the equal sign. So I have a little tooltip right here that's saying that. So for example, just the letters. Okay, and there's two ways to add the video. If you want to be the thumbnail, like to replace that image or any of these, or that's only if I press yes. And if I don't press yes, we can have both the static image and let's say I weren't to replace the static image, the video would be embedded within the content, like below this, so in this area. So you can choose to have both, which is pretty nice. And that's only if I didn't press yes. So okay, so next up is selecting which facility this event is associated with. In this case, the selected fitness centers. So what this does is that it's going to grab the information, the contact information from that facility, and if I scroll down, it's going to fill out all my contact stuff here automatically, which is nice. Sometimes it's not the right stuff. Don't worry, you can still come in and delete it and put the right one. Maybe sometimes it's just half right, because the phones are right, but maybe I want them to contact somebody else on the email. Okay, so that's one thing it does. The second thing it does is it will put that event on that facility's event list. I'm going to show you what that means. So each facility, below its hours of operation and all this stuff here, always has a default events and you can actually rename that to whatever you want, but it has a default event listing. This one says trips because it's out direct, but it could be like events or something else. So you might be like, oh, that looks exactly the same as this stuff down here. Well, no, that's the single one that does those two things I told you. It'll grab the contact and it will include it into that event list. The ones down here are a little bit different. If I go to any other facility page, search to any facility page, all the way below the info we have a bunch of featured events. They're kind of like related events. How did they get these on here? By doing this. So I assume about Chatterbox, Sports and Fitness. Okay, good. So they wanted to put it on the fitness center. So you can select up to 5 different pages. Sometimes there's multiple facilities where you could display that event on. So that's why we included several. So, and going back to like what you guys would do, we did prepare a lot of templates that are ready with an image, with a title, and with a lot of the content, like a little descriptive paragraph. Everything's like kind of written for you. All you guys really gonna do is just make sure it's on the right community and that it's related to the correct facility, and then it's up to you where you want to feature that. And then next things, you probably want to leave this off. This is kind of more for marketing to do, but you can also have and ask them, hey, can we display, this is a Europe-wide event or something like that, it can be displayed on more than one homepage. If it's a really important event for your local garrison, well, you can tick the box there. It's going to be up to marketing if they want to display it or not, but you can always tell them, hey, I want mine on the homepage because it's a pretty big thing. Okay, and that's how you would do it. In this case, it's Ansbach, for example. And okay, the next thing is the image. Like I said, in the templates, it's already selected, but if it weren't, and you were to make a new one, it would just look like this. Choose file. You click on it, and brings up the file manager, which I showed you guys earlier. And there's where we could find an image if we already have one. So what was that event? For example, Zumba. Okay. So just to show you an example, say I was going to make a new Zumba event, but it didn't have an image. I'm just going to type Zumba There's gotta be a ton of stuff already. Yeah. Okay. So there's that one they had. I could also choose another one. Okay. Okay. Let me do that once more. Something like I said, it's not so apparent. Do not click on the checkbox thing, just on the thumbnail itself, and then choose. Okay. Then there's all the contact and event location stuff. There's examples here of how to write the telephones. But I'll actually have to fix that one for the commercial format. But this is the correct commercial format right there. And we even added tags. This is also for your search engine, for Google, Yahoo, whatever. This will help customers find the event easier. Super important to have them as well. Sometimes the customer doesn't type exactly the name of the event, or they tend to call it something else. So even if organizationally we have certain lingo that everyone saw, this has to be called like this or that. Here's where you can actually step out of that box and type in what you know that people actually call it. This is not going to show up anywhere. It's just going to help them find the event faster. So let's say some people call it CYS and not CYSS, but it's just kind of like a thing that stayed for quite a time. So just a random example. Next up is cost. If we have any like special thing to say about the cost, if we have to pay per class, in this case, punch, cards, or if they have additional fees, or if you want to have children fees, and kind of things like that, you can do it here, and you can also add bullet points or make it bold, just to give it a little bit more styling. Okay. And the same thing for registration. If there's anything additional to do, you have to register by this date, or you have to go into this website, or anything additional to calling or using this data up here. Just put it down here, and it will make a separate section. Here they didn't have any, so it just contact as the registration info. Let's see if I have another one that has the example. All of these are just using the contact as the register. Normally we have a few auto-rec ones. Well, anyway, it will separate it like visually here, so that it's a bit easier to find for the customer. And so I can choose to just use the contact info for that. So a lot of people just use that. And then we can also add a web track link if you have one. So you can just paste in the URL in there. Okay. So let's go into dates. It's like the more important part of the event, more complex part. By default, you don't see any date. You can add multiple dates. You can also remove them. So, okay, if you click on that, it'll have a little calendar. Say we want it for the 31st. If we want it to be an all-day event, it's going to ignore the times. If not, we can choose a specific time range here. Pretty straightforward. And then group dates. If we have a multiple day event, for say a trip that lasts a few days, but you don't want it to appear every single day on the calendar. You just want it to be one time, but you actually want to tell the customer, oh, this event lasts 3 days. we're going to do it like that, and then we're going to select the end date. Let's do an example. August 1st to, it's going to be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. So we're going to do that and then choose end date here. And then recurring, we'll leave it like that. And that's it. It will display over here. It would tell us like August 1 to 3rd on this graphic here. Okay, that's one case. Let's say you have an event that does happen several days, but at different times. So I'll just add another date. This one's from 6th to 8th on August 2nd. And you can, and so on. You can keep adding more and more. And then there's other case, and I would take this off, of course. Let's say we want a weekly event or a daily event, doesn't matter. Starting on the 1st, and then I want it to be all month, weekly, every Friday. So we select the Friday and the end date, and then just say weekly. So it's going to grab from that starting Friday all the Fridays until it reaches this end. And if I do daily, it's just going to do every single day. It's always. If I do monthly though, it's going to choose the number of day of the month, not the Friday, for example, not the first Friday of the month. It's going to choose number 1 of the month. That's an important distinction there, because I think Outlook gives you both options, but in this case we only have the number. What else? Yeah, you can make a double weekly event. Say I want it, the other one is on Friday and this one's on Wednesday. It's August. Let's do August 2. And so if I do that, it's going to repeat both days weekly until, weekly until the end of that. Okay. I think I covered all of them. Okay, well, except no end time. Sometimes you have events that start at 5, but I'm not sure if it's going to go on for 3-4 hours. We don't know. So just put no end time. It's only going to say 5 p.m. and it's not going to say when it ends. So that's always convenient. Okay, you have any doubts on this?
No, it seems pretty straightforward.
Okay, good.
The only question I have is like when you do. Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Like when you do, let's say I'm doing a trip for outdoor rec, and it's for 3 days. So then I would do, I do the start date and the end date, and then when I was talking to the girl who I'm helping, she was saying something about change the date for like 2 days after the actual date, so it still shows up.
Yeah. Okay.
People can still see it. Is that?
Good question. Okay, it's an event that lasts 3 days, right? Let's say a weekend trip or something like that. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Or even like a festival or something. I guess not just outdoor rec.
Okay. So yeah, good point. All right. Let's say it's an event that is going to go from Friday the 1st to Monday. Monday the 4th. And but you have to register for that event before, and if you didn't reach the first day, it's no use for people to see it the rest of the days, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just giving an example here.
Okay.
So we do that, and then we do group dates, and once this event is sent for approval, the approver is the one that has to say, okay, the event expires on the 2nd day of the event.
Okay.
if that makes any sense. So that way, it's only going to show it until that day of the event where you had to show up, and then after that, it's going to drop off. If you wanted to show more, maybe that's what they told you. If they want the event to be shown, it does last for longer. You can reach there on the second day, on the third. Then you make it expire later, like on the third. Yeah, but that's actually more on the approver side. Then they decide when or how long to show it on the calendar.
Okay.
Here you just basically deciding where it ends. Although if they leave the expiration date alone, it's gonna come off the website whenever you selected this end date here.
Okay.
All right. Okay. The next tab is basically to exclude dates. It's exactly what it is. And my best example is if you have a weekly event happening for, say, several months, but sometimes there's a holiday that falls on, let's say, the 24th, and nobody's gonna be able to be there, so just exclude that date using this guy here. And that's about it. And then finally we have post. Let me show you something quickly here into the calendar. Okay, well, that loads. This part here is a little teaser. They're already included into the templates as well. It's just a little 250 or 120 character sentence, kind of inviting the customer to read it or to go ahead and check out the full version of the event. And you can see it if you click on any of these. This little blur right here, that's the teaser. And some have it, some don't. Here. So, but basically, it's telling you like an action or what you're gonna do, and that kind of. Anyway, this is where you write that. Also, the event content is the main stuff. So if we're going to read more, or it's all the stuff that's between the date. So all of this part right here. And mainly consists of a description or a little bit of history of what that is, and then if you have to bring stuff or the things that they offer, all that kind of important things, good to know for the customer. Everything's there. Now for you guys, again, there's a lot of stuff already done in the templates, so it's easier, but sometimes you want to add more stuff, you can. So even if you see it's already filled out, you can still come and say, oh, there's going to be a special teacher, special instructor, I don't know, whatever is unique to your event. So it doesn't have to stay a template. Okay. There's several tools here. You can bold keywords. It's like a little stripped down Word, you could say. You can create bullet points with these. Oh, sorry. There's also undo, redo, and you can also make tables for like price lists. Generate a table here. You can set rows, columns, really similar to Word if you're familiar with that. And then you can also insert and remove with all these tools here. So add more, so on. Okay. And let's see. This stuff down here, you can't select fonts because we locked it down to just like everyone has to use the same styling. So this we're gonna ignore. If you need to style something, just bold it, but only keywords, please, like not whole sentences or stuff like that. Delete this. Okay. And then you just basically copy and paste. But then we have these two other ones. Sometimes we're writing stuff or copying things from a Word document, and we see that it displays some funky styling or fonts. It's probably because Word pasted some invisible stuff behind the characters, like some invisible code. Just press on this paste from Word icon and then paste your content there. I'm just going to grab any, and I'll paste it there and then insert. That will strip it away from any crazy word stuff, which it tends to do. So that's why I like to teach that little tool there. If it still persists, then there's this paste plain text, and then I can paste after that. That will completely strip it out of everything, sometimes even too much. So I prefer to paste from Word or to actually type stuff directly in here, which I think is the best option. So okay, and then we have this little Omega tool is just to select special characters. Maybe you want the euro sign or any other symbol like that. We can also create anchors that you don't really have to get into. And then there's a spell check in the end over here. This HTML is also not necessary. It's more for coders. Okay. Once you're done with your event, you can revise it, and under any of the tabs, hit update. As you can see, it's on every tab. If it were a new event, it would just say submit event. Since we went in through edit, it says update. So I'm not going to do that. I don't want to mess their event up. Let's go back to the list. Okay. So if I wanted to see only templates, for example, I want to show you how the template thing works. I'm going to select from this drop down template events and then just search. And then we've created quite a few, like 6 pages of templates. But maybe we don't really want to see all the categories. So then I'm just going to select the one that's relevant to me. Let's say out the rack. We need to put more out the rack events, obviously. I think we have quite a few exports. Okay. So, and then how to use these. It's quite simple. We'll grab the one I want to use. Let's say body sculpt, and I'm going to click duplicate. Cool. I'm like, oh, where'd it go? We just have to go back into all. Sorry, we have to take off all the filters. Yeah. So that happens because our internal users wanted the filters to remain after they do any work on this events list. So to see your duplicate or whatever you did, you have to just clear out all your fields down up here and then click search again, and then you'll see whatever's newly created goes all the way to the top. And then it's a template because it added a 2. We're sure it copied it. Cool. We're going to go into edit. And then the first thing I want to do is just delete the template part in the number. And the most important thing is, okay, I'm going to flip it from template to onSpot. Cool. And then I just basically start filling everything out. So my facility, that's fitness centers. Okay. I'm going to feature it also on the bottom of the page, for example. Cool. And I want it to be on the home page. This already has an image, great. And it even has all the context, so I'm not going to even bother. It's cool. And we already have text, great. So I would only probably put in the cost, maybe it's free. And I'm just going to use the contact registration, good. And then sometimes these templates have a little date for it by default, because the system wanted us to include a date to actually create the template. No problem, can just exit out and put on our own. So it's going to happen that day, great. And then post 154 hours. Okay, so there's really not much I want to change. So then I'm going to just update event. And great, and now it's not a template, now it's an actual Ansbach event. And it's just ready for approval. If I want to preview it, I can, again, just click on that. And you know, even if it's a preview, we can still copy this URL up here on your address bar and send it to your colleague or your boss or whoever for revision. And it works. You don't have to be approved to actually see the preview. So I could just do this on another tab. And we'll see it just the way it would look on the live site. So great. Close that out. Okay, and just a few things here in the search. You can search by name, or by tags, also by approved or unapproved, and active or also still relevant events, expired events, or with past dates, and so on. So that's pretty much it. Oh, you can also select event or promo if you were to get that refined. Okay. Let's see. Let's go back to the dashboard. One more thing maybe is if I were to come from the dashboard and create a new one, you click on Add Edit. It's kind of the only thing I can think of that's not so obvious. But like I said, this little arrow here gives us all the options of the module we're inside. So in this case, list, add, edit, preview, and all those. So you can also do it from here. You can also jump to your list from here. And so on. Alright guys, is that clear how to create events from a template?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. And yeah, same thing to create one from scratch. The only thing else is the image, since you guys probably don't have editing software and stuff like that. The image does have a set size. It's all give me 1 second. Let's say I'm creating an event from scratch. I'm going to choose an image. Just make sure if you click on it, see the properties, and make sure you choose the ones that say 750 times 421. That's the correct size for all of our event photos. Like there are other photos with other sizes, but those are probably used within the content. That's fine. But if we don't use these, it's going to break up our layout. So just make sure you grab the ones, and you know, it's pretty obvious. They're the ones that look like widescreen shot like that. So That's all I can think of for now. And I think that's it for today.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, you guys, if have you any doubts, I'll just give me a call or email.
Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, and I'll add you. Who's the one that was missing? Andrea, you have an account, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't have one.
Oh,
Okay, sorry. I was thinking
MWR.
about the DCO like logged on. No, I don't have an account with the MWR site.
okay. I'll double check for both of you then.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Thank you
I
so
have a
much.
question.
Yes.
You sent me an email tracker.
An email? What?
I think it was. Hang on a second. Let me find it.
You're gonna get just to make it clear, you guys gonna get an email requesting you to password reset. It says password reset request, something like that. And I'm gonna type it here on the screen. Just make sure Europe@gmail.com. Just make sure you add this email to your safe list inside a Outlook, because if not, sometimes it just won't get there, or it goes directly to the trash or something. So we've had that issue before.
Okay.
Okay, and then